Hi and welcome along to the Invincible podcast with my man Lee Judges in the building, and we've got a very special guest with us today, Lauren Parker, female boxer extraordinaire. We're going to be talking, and listen, let me not forget, massive Arsenal fan, and we're going to be talking to her.
Shirt gives you away, Rob, but
No, it could be coming here, just put a shirt on. But we know she's proper Arsenal, you know what I mean?
Okay. I'm not wearing an Arsenal shirt at the moment, I'm still not happy.
Lauren, welcome along to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Brilliant to have you. Just before we get into all that, of course, big up to Who Knows Wins for sponsoring the show. How much did you get last week?
How much did you get first?
We were both as bad as the team
Come
last
bottom.
week.
We come actually bottom.
Come bottom, I only got 2, you only got 2.
Yeah.
Terrible.
And one of them was, sure, dare I say it, you know what I mean?
Arsenal.
Yeah, no, I didn't. I went for them down the road, didn't I? Like, you know, to win.
Oh, gosh, man. Okay.
Yeah.
Was that one of the ones you got? You went for
Yeah,
Tottenham?
otherwise I got one.
You backed Tottenham?
Yeah, I did.
Bloody hell. No wonder that geezer on there. I saw that guy on the train.
Right.
He should have done you one.
Right.
Right. Let's
They were lucky, I tell you that. I didn't have my boxing gloves with me.
should have had Lauren with you.
Yeah, if I'd had Lauren, I'll tell you what, if I'd had Lauren with me, they wouldn't have been putting the bleeding phone up to my face, giving me large.
Anyway, let's quickly run through our predictions for this week. Don't forget Who Knows Wins. You deposit £5, the link's in the description, and you have a chance of winning 10 grand. There was a guy last week.
Got 10 out of 10.
He got 10 out of 10. How he managed to do that? He even predicted West Ham drawing with Man City, didn't he?
He's
10
either mad,
out
he's either
of
mad or you know, or he's a clever son, doesn't he?
He was a clever sod. He won 6.5 grand. Big him up. This week, Arsenal versus Everton. I've gone for
Who cares?
I've gone for an Arsenal win, right? Brentford versus Leeds. I've gone for Brentford, man.
So that means you're relegating. Oh, no,
That would
Leeds
send- I
depends
don't
on
want
what-
Leeds to go down, but I can't see him beating Brentford. Did you see him last week? Brentford against
Yeah, I thought
Everton.
he played well, yeah.
Brighton versus West Ham, I've gone for a draw. Burnley versus Newcastle, I've gone for a draw. Newcastle are very good against us, but I just think Burnley at home, which that would make Burnley safe.
Yeah.
Chelsea versus Watford, I've gone Chelsea. Watford are dreadful, and they're down, and they're literally on the beach. Palace versus Man United, I've gone for Palace. United are terrible as well. Shocking. And I think Palace will do them in the last game. Leicester versus Southampton, I've gone Leicester. Liverpool versus Wolves, I've gone for Liverpool. Man City versus Villa, I've gone for Man City, which would mean that City would win the league. And Norwich versus Tottenham, I've gone for Norwich.
And that is why, ladies and gentlemen, he's always bottom of the league.
Who did you go for in that?
Norwich. That's why I'm always bottom of the league.
And we've only, you know what, we're just hoping. Who would you go for out of that?
Norwich.
Yeah, you go.
Yeah, see, we're just hoping. So listen, download the app. The link is in the description. Get involved right now, and a chance to win yourself £10,000. If you're a gooner especially, it would be a great tonic if we don't quite get that top 4. Guys, let's get into it. Well, actually, before we get into it, let's talk to Lauren. Lauren's our guest there today. Massive Arsenal fan and a boxer, right?
I am a boxer.
A very, very good boxer. You've got a very, very good record. I was looking at your record. Was it 7 fights?
I've had 8 fights actually.
8 fights?
Yeah, 8 fights now. 6 wins, 1 draw, and 1 loss, unfortunately. But that's boxing.
That's a good record.
But it's okay, and I believe...
Okay, no. That's
okay.
Hold on a
I
minute.
know.
That's a brilliant record. Okay.
Yeah, the loss, I think, to be fair, it should have gone my way. But it is what it is.
How did you get into boxing?
To be fair, it was my dad's fault, really. He took me along to watch kickboxing as a youngster, and I think that's sort of where it started. I was always such a shy kid, so I never really give any other sports a go, or I'd always try them, and then I'd end up quitting quite soon into it. But yeah, like with the boxing, I don't know what it was. Like just I don't know, seeing these girls box like kickboxing at the time, I was like, do you know what? I just want to give that a go. And but I didn't act on it initially until I was sort of 18, and that's when I tried kickboxing. And do you know what? I just fell in love with it. Such a good sport. It's an individual sport. It tests you in so many ways as well. And if it weren't for boxing, I probably would have done football. To be fair, because obviously I love the football. I love it as a sport. I like to play it as well. but boxing for me was the one that stuck really.
Boxing's so hard though. Such a tough sport.
I think that's why I like it though. Like I say, it challenges you in so many different areas, and you can only rely on yourself. With football, there's other players that you can blame or whatever. With boxing, it's just you. And if you have a bad performance, you're driven to wanna do better next time, do better and better and better, and it all comes down on you. So I think that's why, I don't know, it's just appealing to me.
So when you've had a fight and now you're not on a fight, can you do whatever you want, or do you still have to train? Do you have to eat properly? Watch what you're eating, or or is it when you're into the training thing, that's when you got to cut it all out?
So like I've just boxed recently, like 3 weeks ago, and then directly after a fight, normally I have about a week off, and I won't train, won't do anything, because you need that, otherwise it just rolls into one. And like for me, naturally, I love to train. Like if I don't train, I'm miserable. Whereas some fighters, they might take a couple of months off or whatever, depending on what they've got lined up. But yeah, I just like eat what I want. I'll go out, do what I want. Don't generally tend to party, that sort of thing, because I don't really drink alcohol. So I just tend to just chill out, see friends and that sort of stuff. And then back in the gym working on the next goal. So yeah.
Discipline.
Which is what's up for you next? What we got?
So
going?
yeah, big things in the pipeline really.
Whoa.
So well, we're looking at world titles in the long run, maybe like 9 to 12 months time. But in the next maybe couple of months, we're looking at potentially a Commonwealth title. So that's sort of been put out there, and an opponent's sort of being looked at the minute who's suitable for that. And we're just going to go for it. I'm 8 fights in now, and I've been boxing for 10, 12 years maybe. So, professional 5 years. So I think, as the time's gone on now, we're ready for the big stage. Definitely.
Women's boxing has really come along, right? I was saying to you off air that I'm good friends with Coogan Cassius, who's got his excellent boxing channel, AFTV.
Yes.
And I remember when he first started it, and I remember there was Jane Couch. Jane Couch.
Yeah.
She was like, at that time, she was probably the only female boxer I knew, right? And in that time, the rise of women's boxing, and then we saw that fight the other day with Katie Taylor, Serrano at Madison Square Gardens, where they headlined it, and it was sold out.
Yep.
Can you believe the rise of it? Because it must have been when you said 10 years ago, I bet 10 years ago, there were men out there saying, well, what are you fighting for?
Yeah.
Bit like in football, where you used to have men saying derogatory things like, get in the kitchen, what do you know about football? But now these women have proved beyond doubt how good they are at football, and you just watch them play and you're just like, wow, you're blown away. Yeah. It's the same in women's boxing. I mean, the rise of women's boxing, can you believe it?
Well, I can believe it, but I think it's, boxing is such a male-dominated sport. If you think about it, it's overloaded males, hardly any women in it. But I think it's the comments from some guys, saying that women can't do this, that just drive the women even more. And we've got that sole purpose to wanna, succeed. And when you've got people out there like, Eddie Hearn, Frank Warren, like these managers, Steve Goodwin, my manager, he's pushing and helping women come through the ranks, and giving them these opportunities, then, we're only going to take them and prove that we can do that and we do belong where we are. So, yeah, I can believe it in a roundabout way. If you took me back to 5 years ago when I first started my pro career, maybe not, because there wasn't many women in it, not that I knew of personally anyway. But I think, I don't know, just as it's grown now, I think it's only going to get bigger, and there's more women coming through, you're winning these big titles, unifying divisions, becoming undisputed, that sort of thing.
Katie Taylor's done wonders for it over in this country, hasn't she?
Crazy. When she first started, she had to, go in the ring, compete and pretend to be a lad, just to show that women can really step up and prove that, we can do it. And I think that's what it's about. You've got to try and wipe out the fact that it's women's boxing. Like, if you can look at what's going on and appreciate that that's boxing, and that whether you're a male or female, if they're skilled enough to do it and put on a good show, then why not be there?
How was your mum with it? right? Because, it's such a hard sport, man. When I was younger, I used to do a little bit of boxing, man. That's right. First time I got punched in the face, I was like, bloody. You go there, you're doing all the sparring and that, you're hitting bags and that, right? And you're like, you know what? Yeah, man, bring it on. And then you do some sparring, and somebody punches you straight in the face, and you're like,
get out of the way, Rob.
Well, I tried to get out of the way.
Not like me today, then, eh?
I'm looking at that little shiner there as well. You know what I mean?
Oh,
your eyes start to water. I mean, your mum must have been like, well, nah.
Do you know what? She's actually not that bad.
Is it?
She's all up for it. She's like, yeah, let's go. I think at the beginning she was probably a little bit nervous, and she is even today watching me. It's like, oh my God, that's my daughter in there, and I don't want to get hurt. My dad was probably worse. When I started kickboxing and just did a few little gym shows, he just was not interested at all. He didn't want to see me in there. But now that I've turned pro, and we went through the COVID period, didn't we? Yeah. And he literally latched onto my career. He took me to sparring, took me everywhere, and he literally loves it now. Literally lives and breathes it with me. He takes me to all my sparring. And yeah, he gets nervous, but I think he knows what goes into the boxing now. So he has faith and believes that, you know what, she can look after herself, and I think she's going to be fine. So
when you first started it, though, when did someone come up to and say you could be a professional with this then? Or how did you, how did you know you was good?
Yeah, so basically I started doing the kickboxing. So I did that for about 2.5 years. And then a friend said, why don't you try out boxing? Come to the local club, which was at Stevenage. I was a little bit like, but I love kickboxing. Anyway, I tried it, fell in love with it. And that's where I met Paul Day, who is my current coach now. He's been on the road since the beginning. And just did the boxing. And then basically what happened was maybe like football as well, there's a lot of politics involved, and because basically with amateur boxing you have England boxing, which is like the umbrella, and all the clubs sort of sit underneath it. And there was a time where a lot of clubs broke away from that, and they went to what's called the alliance boxing, so they like made their own governing body. And what it was our club went to the alliance boxing, and with that, if you're in the alliance, it means you can't box any other boxer under England boxing. So what that meant for me was there was no competition left. So I'm here as an amateur. I've boxed well. I won Haringey Box Cup, which is one of Europe's biggest boxing tournaments. And it just basically left me with no competition. And I just thought, what is this? So I tried a little bit of K1, which is like kickboxing, but I just hated it, to be honest. I was like, I can't go back to that. And so I ended up coming back to boxing. And at the time, a lad that I trained with called William Webber, he turned pro as well. So the question rose was, why not try pro boxing? So literally I just gone, do you know what, sod it. If it means that I can compete, let's go pro. So I gave it a go, and now look where we are.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant.
Yeah.
Now tell us about, there's something that's nearly as hard as boxing, if not harder. And that's following Arsenal right now.
Oh my.
That's hard work. I'd rather get punched.
I was up at Newcastle on Monday night, and I felt like I got a beating as well as the team. But tell us about, how did you get into following Arsenal?
So I was born into it. My whole family is Arsenal crazy. My 2 uncles, I'll shout them out, John and Stuart Miller. Literally just born into it. As a kid, we'd go to the games. I'd be out the front of my house with my little Arsenal kit on, jogging around and that with the ball. And it kind of just grew from there. So I've always been Arsenal. There's been times where I've dipped in and out of it. And obviously, I'm more very, very invested with the boxing now. So I'm very, very much into that. But I do like to follow the team and, how we're doing and that sort of thing. And obviously when we're doing well, that's great. When we're not, it's shit. But so that's kind of how it happened, really. Just
manager's Arsenal as well, with Pratt, is that right?
He is. He's here, yeah.
50 years, he's telling me.
Yeah, he was saying season ticket holder for 50 years, he said.
Yeah. He's as mad as us.
Right, listen, let's get to it then. Monday night. Let me start with Lauren before I get to him, because I think I know what he's been moaning ever since he turned up here. But Monday night, Newcastle away, a chance for Arsenal, if they win that game, to really, it was in our hands. Win the game, win the last 2 games, and that's it. We're going to get into the top 4, which would have been far exceeded our expectations at the start of the season. What did you make of the game?
To be honest, I just find it quite disappointing with Arsenal a lot of the time. We get given these chances. We're doing really well, then all of a sudden we're given these chances, and I just feel like we just blow it all the time. I come back from training actually, and I sat and I put the match on in the car eating Nando's, and I think we started off well, and it was 0-0 going into the second half, and obviously then we got the goal. They got the goal, and from there for me, I just had to switch off because I just find it really frustrating. You know how I just think we blow our chances a lot. You know, same with Tottenham as well. Fuming, but it is what it is. That. You know,
Lee.
Can I say I've got to say, do you know what's disappointed me the most about it is after humiliation of Spurs, and that was tough. It was a tough watch there, going there, listening to all of them, and then getting home and everything like that. I honestly, and I genuinely did think that Arsenal were going to put in a performance. I'm not saying they were going to win the game, but I just thought they were going to turn up and really give it a go and really play it, and they just didn't. It was just a complete and utter letdown. And maybe a couple of players weren't fit, but the forwards weren't good enough on the day. It was just a shambles of performance.
What went wrong? Because I was at the game, right, and I was stood there in the second half, and I have to say I was just in shock. I just stood there and I was just like, I had my hand like this, and I was just like looking. I was like, I can't believe what I'm watching. What do you think went wrong?
I just think, do you know what? I think it caught up on us a little bit. I will say this, and when you look at our front four, and they're a good front four, but 22 and under, not experienced enough, and when it really matters, none of them have consistently scored goals. Eddie's got a few goals in the last few games, but if you look at over 20 games, none of them have got more than 4. Martinelli, who I love, 19 games he's started and 1 goal. You just needed that little bit of experience, someone to come through. Lacazette, not been given the opportunities, but he's like he'd gone as well. And I just feel that was down to it. If you look at the other teams, they've all got experienced strikers that are scoring regular, and we haven't. And I do think that was a thing at the end that probably took its toll at the end of the day. I don't know. I look at listen. You can say about injury. I think our 2 closest players we haven't got a world-class player in our squad. Let's be honest, we haven't. But the 2 closest, I would say, if you're going to go, they're close to it. Are Partey and Tierney. They've been taken out of it, and they're not reliable enough, Robbie. They're always injured. Lessons have got to be. I look at that game against Tottenham. I've watched it again, and we played right into their hands. How many more times are you going to play into their hands? You know what I mean? Like Cedric bombing on, leaving Holding exposed. We go to Newcastle and we play it tight the first half. Why didn't they do? Change that around to the both games? I just think too many mistakes, too young, and I think listen, that was a hard pill to swallow on Monday night. Very hard.
Lauren, as someone who's boxing, let me ask you this, right? Because when I looked at Arsenal on Monday, they looked like a team that was done, like burnt out,
lost
finished.
Their heart. Yep.
I mean, physically, it's like they've played so many games, right? Those players. The players that are on the pitch, they just look worn out. I mean, can that happen? Can that be just like? Do you think it could be the amount of games? Or someone who trains so much, and you sort of said that sometimes you have to take after a fight, you got to take a week out just to kind of recharge. But literally, it's been the same team just going at it and at it and at it. Do you think that they were just wiped out?
To be honest, yeah. And if I do apply it to boxing and the training that I do, I think if it's so constant like that, and if you've not got that experience. You can literally just throw it, and a lot of it comes down to that heart as well, as whether they've got the heart, the experience. Obviously we've got a young team and we're still building up, that sort of thing, but you can burn out, definitely, and you need to take those breaks, and we've had players off injured a lot, and that probably can play a big role in it, but I think it's the experience plays a big part of it as well.
Saka looks burnt out, doesn't he?
He looks burnt out. He looked a shadow in himself. So did Smith Rowe. We had 2 players playing at the back in Gabriel and Ben White, who didn't train, weren't announced until the very last minute. That suggests that they were both probably injured and probably given injections maybe just to get them through the game. so they weren't fit. You know, I just think, I looked at that game afterwards when I was driving back and I was just like, it's caught up with us. It has caught up with us. You know what I mean? Too many injuries to key players, like you said, like Tierney and Partey. And then we're relying on kids who have been brilliant.
Yeah.
Like somebody said to me at after the game, they said it was boys against men. I said, you know what? Those boys have been brilliant, but now you need some men, right? And I kind of I was looking at some other teams that have. So I looked at that game the other day, Real Madrid, when they played the semi-final against what was the semi-final they played? City. They're able to bring on kids to fresh it up. When the senior players weren't quite clicking, they brought on Camavinga, they brought on Rodrigo, they changed the game. In the game before that, when they beat PSG, it was the old, when the chips were down, it was the old heads. Benzema, Modric with an unbelievable, you know, this is where you need those experienced, top-class players. But we just look like we're down to the bare bones. But is that self-inflictedly? Because in January,
this is it
we
now.
didn't buy anybody. We didn't make any signings. And in January, we knew, and this is what Mikel Arteta and Edu said, we need a striker because we were getting rid of Aubameyang, and we need a midfield player. That's what they said, the minimum. We need that. They didn't get either. And you look now at the problems we've got in this running. Not only are we short, but we could have done with somebody in midfield to have a little creative spark. And striker. Like you said, a real lack of goals.
Yeah.
So is that, does it date back to when you're going to sort of judge the season as a whole now, and you're going to look at it and say, we're not going to make that top 4 position. Can you relate it back to them? Because I'm not even just looking at that game on Monday night. I'm looking at the fact that this thing has been in our hands since the international break. Remember the international break was on? When we came back, we were so far. We were in the driving seat by a long way. Then we lost to Palace. Then we lost to Brighton. Then we lost to Southampton. Then we pulled back a couple of victories. The teams around us messed up. We're back in the driving seat. Then we mess it up again. That lack of squad depth.
We're on a skateboard now, aren't we? We're on no driving seat. You can look at a couple of things. If we'd have managed, let's go back to the Tottenham game. If we managed that, if the manager managed that game properly, you wouldn't be talking about this, like, you know what I mean? Like, set up defensively. Like, you know, I watched Burnley. Look at how they set up against Tottenham. They lost the game, but they set. We got more firepower than they ever have. You know what I mean? But we didn't set up properly against Tottenham and we shot ourselves in the foot. And then, you know, like Newcastle, you could say, listen, Southampton have won one game in 13. One game in 13, that's their run, that's against us. You know what I mean? It's not just Newcastle and Tottenham. It's been happening quite a lot over January. Like January, I look back at January and I do think this is that we come to January and we was down to the bare bones, weren't we? It was like the footballing gods telling us, you're at the bare bones, but there's something you can do about it in January. You can do something about it now. But we thought, we're not going to listen to the footballing gods, we just do our own thing. And it has come to bite us.
Instead of getting players, we've got rid of players.
We've got rid of players. And people go on about the Aubameyang. Well, I ain't got a problem getting rid of Aubameyang. If he wasn't doing it and whatever, right, fair enough. But if you're going to get rid of someone, bring somebody in. And I think, you know, that has been the...
Well, just Aubameyang. Got rid of Ainsley Maitland-Niles, right? He went on loan. Callum Chambers went, right? So we basically then said... Pablo Mario went as well. So basically what we were then saying is, right, we're going to operate with a very small squad from now till the end of the season and get by. And we haven't. We've got by for most of it, but it's caught up with the gamble, has caught up with us right at the end.
And with players also in that thin squad that we knew weren't reliable, i.e. Tierney, Partey. You know, we knew that, like, you know. We've played El Neni in the last 7 or 8 games, has done okay. Why weren't he playing in the 3 or 4 before that? There's so many mistakes, Robbie. Like, you know what I mean. At the end of the day, for me, it's a, you know, people are going, oh, you know, yeah, we've got to be happy with fifth. I'm not happy with fifth. I'm not happy with fifth because we should have got fourth. We had an opportunity to get fourth. I'm looking at this season as a failure. I don't care what anybody says.
Would you look at it as a failure? Because at the start of the season, right? If
crap.
At the way we started the season,
Yeah.
if you look at the teams that we were competing with, would you have looked at it and said Arsenal should get top 4? You wouldn't, would you?
No, not with the way that we started. I think the season's obviously it's been very up and down, hasn't it? We've had, you know, moments where we've gone on a winning streak and it's all great, and then we've messed it up, and you know. But I don't know, with the way that we started and everyone's sort of predicting, you know, we're not going to get anywhere near top 6. You know, I don't know, I'm always quite a positive person and try to look at the positive sides of things. And you know, we're sitting 5th. Yeah, it's not great. You know, if we could make that 4th place still. Very, very unlikely, but
Lauren, I know you're a boxer. We're gonna start fighting in a minute. I mean, we've got no chance.
Well, you never know. But anyway, but yeah, I don't look at it as a disappointment. I think we've got a lot to learn. Yeah, just take the positives from it. Positive, yeah, just be positive.
There you go.
Always positive, because if I was negative about my career, I'm getting no world title.
There you go.
I get that, and I'm not going to argue with Lauren, obviously, for obvious reasons. But what I'm saying is, yes, no Arsenal fan thought we was going to get 4th at the beginning of the season. Right? You know, I get that. 3 games left, 4 points in front. I don't care if you're a boxer or not, and you've knocked out the boxer 16 times, and then like that one punch knocks you out. You're going to look back at those 16 times you didn't do the bit. You know, we've had the opportunity to nail it. We had the opportunity to nail it at Tottenham. We had the opportunity to do something at Newcastle, and we haven't done it.
And Palace. Yeah. And you got to factor those games in as well. Palace, Brighton at home, Southampton away. Like you just said, how many games? 1 in 13.
1 in 13.
And that was us. We lost.
Yeah.
You know, we have lost 13 games this season. I can't get my head around that either.
13 games.
That's ridiculous. That's a third of our games. And the other thing is as well, what we got to factor in, right, is that we ain't had no European football.
No, that's what's a worry.
West Ham have had Europe. Man United had Europe. Right? Chelsea had European football.
Got no excuse,
right?
really, have
we ain't had no European football.
Like 10 defeats away from home is, right? That's
shocking.
Also, let's put that in there. A 3rd round knockout of the FA Cup as well. People just dismiss that. When was the last time we got humiliated at Tottenham? When was the last time Tottenham beat us really heavily? I know what it is. Bloody there, like, you know what I mean? But like, you know, forget about the League Cup side. Like, the League Cup side, we played a week and seen all that. George Wood was in goal for Arsenal. Now a lot of people ain't going to remember George Wood, right? But that was 5-0 at White Hart Lane. We lost, I think, 82 season or something like that. We've never been pumped by Tottenham. Oh, we have now. Oh, good old Mikel's come along, and another one that he's done, like, you know.
Does he deserve? Because they're pretty smart, and I said this a couple of weeks ago. When they gave him that new contract, I said, listen, they're smart. It's a very smart PR move. Why wait till the end of the season for this scenario? If this scenario happens and you give him a new... You imagine fans, they'd be in uproar. Now it's already been done, so there's nothing to be in uproar about. But for you, does he deserve to continue as a manager? Because we have had big progress. Despite all those losses, despite, like Lauren said, at the start of the season, a lot of people saying we ain't even going to get nowhere near... Right, we're going to finish 5th. We're back in Europe. Regardless of what happens at the weekend, we're back in European football.
I said we'd come 5th, beginning of the season. I said that we should come 5th.
Well, he's met your target then.
Yes.
So then,
yes, he's met my target. We've done very well.
No, he's met your target.
Yeah.
If you you're in charge, you say to someone, you know.
Yeah, but
my expectations. Hold on. My expectations. You said it.
Yeah.
My expectations, Mikel, is 5th, and he comes at the end of the year. Says, "Yeah,
and that's why he's given.
Yeah, there you go. Here's a 5th, my new contract."
And that's why he's got the contract, because at the
end of the day, does he deserve that contract?
Yes, because I'll tell you why. From the board's eyes and everything like that, is at the beginning of the season was to get them back into Europe, right? Get Arsenal back into Europe. by the guy, by the way, that got us out of Europe in the first place. Take us out of Europe, but your prize and reward is get us back into it, like, you know what I mean? So well done, you know what I mean? So he's done that. So he's got us into the Europa League, right? And that is a thing. But this is where I pains me, the Cronkies, because they go, oh, that's all right, we've got fit, but it ain't all right because I've had to endure what I don't live in America. I live right in the heart of that lot. You know what I mean? Like, you know, and they've got fourth. So for me, that's a failure. You know, to come below them is a failure. That's how I see it. And we had the chance to now Champions League football. So I don't think it's party time. I'm not going to get my party hat on and be drinking champagne because what's happened. Because for me, I'm down about it, Robbie. I'm down. I have not been able to get myself up after that game. It's a shocker. It's a shocker from being where we were. 4 points in front. We're now 2 points behind and hoping for a bunch of Canaries to beat them. Like, you know what I mean? It ain't going to happen. Thank you, but so that's the reward we get. But at the end of the day, it is progress. Is it progress? It is progress because it's progress because we've got so bloody low. We've gone so low, haven't we?
Is it progress?
Come on.
I think it's progress. Yeah.
13 games. 10 games away from them.
What are you giving it to us? What do you think?
Oh, I was just asking you.
Come on, mate, let's
go. What are you saying?
I'm very disappointed as well. I'm going to have to admit, in a way, it's progress because we're back in Europe. Yeah? And at the start of the season, I'm with you, Lauren. Yeah. At the start of the season, I thought we finished 6th. That was my... Well, I think if you used to go back and look at my predictions, I said 6th. I looked at Man United, I was like, look at their squad. They're going to get in. They'll be challenging. They flopped. Yep. Chelsea, I thought, will they be challenging? They flopped. And then obviously the usual suspects of City and Liverpool, they've been miles better than everybody else. And then I thought, it's between us, Tottenham, West Ham. I was even putting teams like Leicester. A lot of teams have done really poorly this season. Yeah. But I've whilst we've got 5th and we're back in Europe, and I think that's progress because for the last 2 seasons we've finished 8th, remember. Not even in the top 6, 8th. But personally, I feel that next season if I was in charge, I'd be saying to Mikel, yeah, this is it now. Now I want minimum top 4. I want a good cup run, because you've had a lot of chances now, and 13 games, defeats, 10 away from home, not being in Europe. Nah, that's not good enough. And a lot of and what I look at is a lot of big decisions that were taken by Arteta and Edu have gone wrong. I praised them for their signings in the summer and said some great signings, but we need some more experience. They didn't do that. The signings on the whole have been good, but we've seen now the lack of top quality experience missing from Arsenal's team. That's why we lost. That's why we got lost to Newcastle. That's why, because you're always going to have spells of games, I feel, where you go away to a Southampton and you don't play the greatest, but when you've got a few quality players in your team, they'll get you over the line. We ain't got those players. We haven't got none of those players that can get you over the line. So Tottenham can play badly, like they did against Burnley the other day. They still won 1-0. I've seen them play a lot of games this season where they've been poor, but they've got Son and Harry Kane that in one moment
change it.
And then we ain't got those game, like you said, we don't have that world-class player. Yeah. And for me, I'm like, why? We're Arsenal Football Club. We're a bigger club than Tottenham. How have we not got at least 2 or 3 of those top... I think the only player I think we've brought in as a ready-made top quality player into our squad has been Thomas Partey. And unfortunately, he's been injured. But he's the only guy I can say that from the day we bought him, we know what we're going to get. He's top quality, he's experienced. No other player we've bought, every single other player we've bought has been potential. And that's what we've been relying on. And it's worked for a lot of the season. But now, towards the end of it, it's run out. And that's what I said. Then that's where you lead your Modric's and your Benzema's and even at United. Look at Ronaldo, 37. He's still been the guy carrying
He's got more goals. Ronaldo's been criticised. He's got more goals than all of our players, all of our front lot put together.
So I just feel that, you know,
in one match.
I think Mikel Arteta's going to get a pass from me this season, but next season will be that will be. I don't know what you think, but that would, for me, that's how I feel about it.
I think that as well. I think he's got to win the Europa League next year.
He's got to do something.
If he don't win the Europa League next year, he's got to go. Yeah, I've said it.
Well, I think he has to get into the top 4 next year as well.
Well, top 4 or winning the Europa League.
Or maybe we do it this year. You said it earlier. You know what I mean? It's not over yet. There's one game to go. We got Everton.
You never know.
We got Everton at home. Norwich, come on, tell us how we gonna.
We're gonna beat Everton.
We beat Everton. We beat
Do
Everton.
we beat Everton?
At home.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I think we do.
Yeah.
But then again, how they've been playing, I said we were going to win the last 2 and was confident
exactly.
about it.
No, but but you know what?
Mate.
Tottenham have been on form, right? Even coming into this game, remember they went away to Liverpool. They got a draw. They've been on form. Newcastle have been on form since Christmas. That was always going to be I think a lot of people discounted that game. Newcastle away at. I was looking at it, I was like, they've only lost to Liverpool at home since Christmas. Liverpool.
It was tough.
And even Liverpool scraped it. I think it was 1-0. Right? It was a tough game. So I knew, and as well, they were fresh. We had the game on a Thursday. They hadn't played for over a week. It showed. They were super. We were second best to everything. I knew that would be a tough game. Everton, on the other hand, they're a bit like us. They got loads of injuries. They barely got a centre back who's fit. They've got problems all over. I don't think Everton will beat us at home. If it was away, I'd be worried because they did beat us away. But at home, I think we'll do them. Norwich, on the other hand, come on, they're rubbish, man.
I don't think it's happening.
They're relegated. The worst team in the. Yeah, I'm saying they're rubbish, and if a few Norwich fans are watching this, they might get at me. But they're the worst team in the league. They're bottom. They're relegated bottom of the league. How are they going to beat Tottenham?
Well, maybe like last game of the season, they put a load of flags out, you know what I mean, like Newcastle did, and they'd be up really.
No, but the Newcastle got good players like Bruno Guimaraes and Joe Linton, and who they got? Apart from Pookie.
Oh well. It was good right last.
Yeah.
The only thing I'd say is Tottenham. And if there's one team, funny enough, my neighbour is a Tottenham fan, and I saw him yesterday. And I was like, yeah, go on. Because I hadn't even seen him since Monday. And I was like, yeah, go on. Fire his shots, go on. And he goes, you know what, Robbie? He goes, I ain't even saying nothing yet. And I said, what, you're worried about Norwich? He goes, yeah. He goes, I know what we're like, man. He goes, we've done it before. He goes, remember that year when that was Newcastle as well, isn't it? And we won at Newcastle. Who did they lose to again? I forgot.
They lost to Newcastle. We played Aston Villa and they played who were relegated.
Yeah.
Lost 5-1.
Yeah. And he goes, we've done it before. He goes, so I said, no, man, you've got Conte in charge this time. He goes, nah, man, nah. He goes, it's
Would be good if it happened though, wouldn't
it? He goes,
imagine, oh my God.
He goes, it's Tottenham. And he goes, I have to admit, he goes, we bottle a lot of things. So that's the only thing that gives me a little hope, that they have a history of bottling it. But against Norwich.
Probably unlikely. It's quite unlikely, isn't it, to be fair?
Highly unlikely.
Yeah.
Highly unlikely.
But let's hope. Let's just hope. You never know.
I like Lauren's positivity. She's very positive.
Like Ty, innit?
Yeah, well, no, definitely not like Ty, is she? Like, you know what I mean?
Julian. That's all because I was driving back from Newcastle. Trust me, I was going to put him out of the car.
I would have. I'd have said we're stopping here and left him.
Yeah, no, I see. I was going to pull over and just say, get out, man, because he kept saying, it ain't over yet. Norwich could do stuff like, okay, Julie, you say that again, man. I'm pulling over, man. I'm putting you out of the car. You know what I mean? I go, Norwich are not beating.
Nah. Look. Things can happen, but, you know...
If Norwich beat Tottenham...
I can say I told you so.
Yeah.
Well, I'd say every Tottenham fan would be going on holiday the next day and not come back until August.
Whatever happens, they'll be back. You know what I mean? Because that's the typical Spurs.
I mean, they can't. What's their record at home, Norwich? What was their like? Let me see. I ain't even looked at it. their last
I
couple of
think
games.
they've only won 5 games, I think, all season, Rob, so I don't think it's that great. You know what I mean, if I'll be honest.
5 games all season.
I think so, yeah.
Bloody hell. Let me see if I can find. You guys keep talking in the meantime.
Was you saying, like, you know, like, Let's Be Avenue, you should be doing a bit of that, I suppose, like, you know.
Right, yeah, Norwich. Let's have a look at their last. So, last game at home, lost 4-0 at West Ham. That was their last home game. Previous to that, went away to lost 3-0 at Leicester. Actually, no, their last game was away. They drew 1-1 with Wolves, but even that wouldn't be enough.
They're at home this time. They're playing.
Yeah, but last home game,
4-0 against West Ham.
4-0 against West Ham.
4-0 against West Ham.
4-0 against West Ham. Previous to that, home games, they beat Burnley 2-0.
Oh, that inspires me, that one.
They lost 3-0 at home to Newcastle. Previous to that, other home games, lost 3-1 at home against Brentford. Lost 3-1
At least
at
we
home.
don't support them, eh?
Yeah, lost 3-1 at home against Chelsea. Drew 1-1 with Crystal Palace. Lost 4-0 at home to Manchester City. Other home results.
They struggled against
Beat Everton 2-1. There you go. There's
Man
one.
United struggled against them. I remember that game. I think they got a penalty right at the end.
Yeah, still lost.
But they lost, yeah.
Right.
It'd be good if Harry Kane missed a penalty as well. Like.
Lost 1-0 at home, as you said, to Man United. Lost 2-0 at home to Aston Villa.
Not a lot of wins in there.
No,
is there?
lost 5-0 at home to
5-0 to someone. Us.
Arsenal. Boxing Day. Remember?
Yeah.
Right. Their home record is shocking.
If we can win it 5-0, we ain't scored 5 goals in a month.
So our hopes of them doing a job, right?
Have just been diminished. Diminished in 2 minutes.
So if they were to win that game, I mean, there are some times when you see teams where got absolutely nothing to play for. That sometimes they, like Newcastle the other night, had nothing to play for apart from
pride.
It's a little send off to their fans, a thank you, and that, and they just lift their game beyond. Or sometimes even the manager might even throw in a few new players and they just play out of their skin. But
well, you know, we've just got to win the Europa League next year, haven't we? Like, you know, that is it. Like,
yeah, so
it's done and dusted. Come on, we got to.
I mean, it's a bit of an anticlimax. It's going to be this weekend, knowing that, but you know,
it is what it is, isn't it?
It is what it is, man.
It is what it is.
So, give me your predictions for Everton.
2-1 to Arsenal. I ain't convinced, but 2-1.
I'm going to go 2-0, Arsenal.
So positive, Lauren.
I'll go 3-0. I think
God.
pressure's off. You know Arsenal.
Yeah.
Pressure's off. We go out and spank them. Norwich versus Tottenham.
2-1 Norwich.
2-1 Norwich.
1-0 Norwich.
Oh, I love it.
And she's optimistic.
Yeah. What do you get? Well, come on, it can happen, Robbie. Come on, we can always live with the fairies for a little while.
1-0. I'll go with Laura.
Same?
1-0.
There you go.
We get 1-0.
It's just people needed. People watch your game. What I do think it'd be about 3-0 after 20 minutes. There you go.
Yeah.
They'll win easy.
That's what I think.
But anyway, listen, Lauren, it's been fantastic having you on.
Thank you.
And we look forward to we look forward to seeing your next fight. And you're saying you're back in the gym at the moment, getting ready for that.
Yeah, always in the gym. Never really come out of it apart from that a week after a fight. So I literally live and breathe the sport. So yeah, I mean, I just hope that success comes and all that hard work pays off, you know.
We sure will.
Sure,
Whereabouts can people follow you so they can?
Yeah, so I'm mainly on Instagram. I absolutely love if all the Arsenal boys and girls can get behind me. And you can find me at Lauren Parker Boxer. So yeah.
Simples.
There you go. Get behind her because we're a Commonwealth fight and then the world title, we're going to go at that world title for.
We'll be there.
Absolutely.
We'll be there.
You
like,
need to be there.
We got to be there. We got to be there, man.
And that one won't be in Sheffield. No, that one won't be in Sheffield. The world title won't be in Sheffield.
Get at the Emirates, man.
Imagine
Imagine
my.
that at the Emirates.
You got to dream big, right?
Yeah. 100%.
At the Emirates. Yeah, you got to dream big.
Yeah.
At the Emirates, you know what I mean?
The world title fight. Well, that rough.
You're like a double header, you know what I mean? Arsenal playing in the Champions League first. And then Lauren comes, and then you're after. Yeah, you know what I mean?
That'd be great, wouldn't it?
But no, that'd be fantastic. Listen, keep dreaming big, you know, and
keep working hard.
Thank you.
And we'll keep following you.
Thank you.
we're going to keep following you. And don't forget to follow her, Lauren Parker Boxer.
On Instagram.
All right, Lauren
mainly.
Parker Boxer on Instagram. And do you give do you just show? Do you do any sort of videos of you training and things like that?
Yeah, so I don't like to put too much out there because I never like to give too much away and what I'm doing and that sort of routine. You know, I've recently put some highlights of my last fight up, but apart from that, I've never really done that before because I don't really like people looking too much. But to be honest, now that we're sort of working up the ladder a little bit, you can't really get away from that sort of stuff, and people are gonna know what you're about and that. So
I forgot to ask you, you a nickname?
Nickname Lionheart.
Lionheart.
Got it on the back of the shirt today. Yeah.
Lionheart.
Yeah.
There you go.
I love that. So, Lauren the
Look
Lionheart.
out for the Lionheart.
Good luck with that Commonwealth and obviously you know onto bigger and better things in the world title. That'd be amazing.
That's major, yeah. That's big. But
no, it's been an honour to have you on the show.
Thank
today.
you very much.
Thank you very
Appreciate
much.
you having me.
Keep following the Arsenal.
Yes.
Even I know it's hard, but you know what I mean. And you keep following the Arsenal as well.
Can't help it, can you? Like, you know. Can't help it.
Well, listen. Obviously, the game at the weekend, last game of the season. Can you believe it, Lee? The season's
gone quick, isn't it?
Flies.
I don't know. I think it's been a long season for me, man. It's been a long season, but listen, it's going to be a season that's going to end in European football, whatever happens. So that's one positive, that Arsenal will be back in Europe, whether it be Europa League or Champions League. We'll find out on Sunday. AFTV will be all over that, of course. We're going to have a watch along in the studio. We're going to be at the game, speaking to fans on the last day of the season, of course. And hopefully Arsenal will get a big win, and hopefully Norwich can do us a favour. But even if they don't, I'm sure it'll be a good send-off to the team, who'll do like a lap of honour at the end. What are you looking at?
No.
You're sending them off, right? You're going to clap them off?
No, I'm not saying.
Oh, come on, man. It's the last game of the season.
They've let me down, Rob. I say, I'm not being alright.
Get over it, man.
No. 3-0 at Tottenham. You know what I mean? I don't know if I can clap them off. I'll be honest. I don't know after that if I can clap them off.
Come on.
Well,
what about all the other games? What about when we smashed Tottenham earlier on in the season? Remember those?
Well, yeah, that's true.
Clap them off, man.
Yeah, I suppose so. Like, you know,
yeah.
But still.
All right.
I feel very down about it.
I know, I'm down. I get you. And don't forget, Who Knows Wins, link in the description. Get involved right now. You can deposit £5, chance to win 10 grand. That would be a nice tonic
I'll
to
clap
finish
them
the
off then, I'll
season.
tell you that.
Yeah, you would be. All right. So thanks for watching the show. And once again, thank you very much to Lauren and her management team. Don't forget to subscribe here to AFTV, like this video, and we'll see you next week where we can, having a look back at the season. Thanks very much. The Invincible podcast. Myself, Robbie, and Lee Judges come together once a week to discuss all things Arsenal. Straight talking, considered discussion, brought to you by the fans of the only club in Football League history to go invincible.